Welcome back to In El Barrio with Kirbyyyona on 97.9 The Beats. And I am super excited. I need to get a pen and a pencil because this is a very important interview. I am here with who is becoming a pillar of financial literacy here for the Afro-Latina community, for the Latina community, minorities in general, all over DFW. I am here with the creator of the Latin Wealth podcast, Mr. Chris Belloso. Hello, how are you doing?
What's going on? Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me on this platform. And, shout out to you and the team for creating this space for Latinos and Latinas. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is very important. And, man, we need more of us doing collaborations and whatnot. So this is very important. Whether you have me on or somebody else, I'm sure there's going to be some dope folks that you're going to have on the platform. So shout out to you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I mean, I think that everything Latinos do, we be creative, we're hard work and everything else. But for me, it's always about there's so many different types of Latins out there, which is why another reason I really love you're very prideful. You have your own ethnic background.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about your background? Are you from DFW? Are you from
Okay, so let me talk to y'all. So I'm really from California.
Okay.
So Southern California. I moved all over the West Coast, from Cali to Oregon to Sacramento. I grew up in Sacramento, so just moved to the DFW area about 2 years ago with my wife. But I'm Puerto Rican, so I guess I'm a Cali Rican. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a New York Rican. I'm a Cali Rican. A lot of my family and my mom's side, they're all from New York and Puerto Rico. So yeah, very proud.
I love it. Puerto Ricanos, y'all are some of the most prideful. Y'all know the flag is going to be shown.
The flag is going to be shown at some point.
Y'all say y'all know what it is. Don't ask me no questions. That's one thing I was like, for me, you're back because you got into financial spaces a little bit later, right? Because your background is more like consulting and marketing.
Correct.
Yeah. Do you still do that?
Yes, I still do that. Yep. We can get into that.
Go ahead and get his, you know what I'm saying? Help your costs is enough, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, all that.
But with you being in the financial literacy space as a Puerto Rican, like people don't think about Latinos, I feel like, when they think of financial literacy. So what does that mean like for you, and how do you bring that all into play?
Yeah, so I really jumped into this platform about, I say, 2 years, going on 3 years ago. And I really noticed that in our community, let's just be honest, when it comes to like music, creating, food, like we killing it. Like we up there, we damn near number one in some of these categories. You know what I'm saying? Entertainment, all of this, we're excelling in these areas, right? But when it comes to like financial literacy, when it comes to business, entrepreneurship, these aren't really conversations that I notice that we're having, right? There's platforms that are talking about it and that are doing a phenomenal job, but there's not enough representation. There's not enough of us talking about it, right? We need to continue to push this narrative. So, it started 2 years ago, and I really noticed, like you said, when it comes to speaking about business and entrepreneurship and financial literacy, men in specific, there's a small, very, very small community, right? And that's something else that the Latina women are excelling at and doing a phenomenal job, is they created like a community within a community to lean on each other for resources. And when it comes to men, it's kind of like, we're lacking a little bit. So you ask me, like, what does it mean? I mean, it's everything. You know what I'm saying? It's a necessity. It's everything. So I take, what we do very serious, and the information that we put out. We do our best to put out the right information for the people out there to consume, to learn, and whatnot.
Yeah. So, and I was gonna say, and specifically using the avenue of a podcast, like what alerted you to take the podcast route about things, especially because you can do traditional marketing. I'm sure you can do a great just regular business front, but you're like, nah, you gotta.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started podcasting 4 years ago, and then 2 years after I put out about 120 episodes of my own personal podcast, I noticed that gap. I noticed like, yo, we need more people talking about this. And as a creator, when you see that gap, when you see the opportunity, that's an opportunity for you to fill that gap. And that's all I did, right? Did that answer your question?
Yeah, no, that's beautiful, as you should. You're like, I could just stunt like I've been doing, but clearly we need to educate people. And that's one reason I do love your podcast, because you're able to bring really like scary financial topics like Bitcoin and insurance and can I be an entrepreneur, like all those things into like regular conversation.
Yeah. So you asked why? So why the podcast and not like regular just business type stuff? I'm trying to be me. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Like I'm from the West Coast. I want to be me. I don't want to put no front. I
right.
love hip hop. I love culture and all that. So
I know Nipsey's really big on your.
exactly, it's huge. He's huge. Shout out to Nip. But I wanted to be authentic and I want to be my true self. And like you said in the beginning, we come in all different sizes, shapes, colors, backgrounds, Cali Rican, New York Rican, whatever the case is. And I want to showcase that we are diverse, that there's more, there's deeper layers to than the stereotypical Latino that people may think of when they think of a Latino. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And you do a great job of showcasing that, because one of your pillars of wealth is obviously networking.
Mm-hmm.
And through your networking, you have, a lot of great guests that come on and speak on these subjects with you. So, people can also see it from different perspectives. A Latina that looks kind of like me, or like an Afro Latino that looks, like my cousin,
Right.
So how do you go about navigating, like, what topics to cover? Is it you find the person first, you find the topic first, or what is it?
So what we do on the platform every Wednesday, we have a segment called Wealth Wednesday, and with that one, I have my partner who is an Afro Latino from Puerto Rico. He's a financial educator, and like that's his thing. Like he's a master at what he does. So every Wednesday, we talk about like trending news topics, entrepreneurships, and how it relates to us. And then every Friday, what I'll do is I typically will find different Latinos that have a dope story, right? That have like something that they've accomplished, and I'll have them on the podcast and I'll have them share their story. We'll talk about their story and how they overcame their challenges and whatnot. So I like to hit on both those kind of segments, the educational part and also like the storytelling part as well. Like I just said, it's important to highlight, these people's backgrounds and what they've been through.
Absolutely. And I was gonna say, it's Rico, the wealth plug. Is it the wealth?
Yeah. He the plug. He the
I
plug.
like the name. I like the name just off that alone. But
Yeah.
specifically, Afro Latinos are the most underrated of all the demographics. So it is beautiful to be able to see both versions of the Puerto Rican looking like,
Yeah.
to represent you guys. So that's beautiful. But he started as just a regular guest. How did it transition to him being like a co-host for you?
Man, that's somebody like that's family. That's what it's all about. That's what the platform's all about. Is community, it's family. You know what I'm saying? So we speak a lot. We have spoken a lot, right? And I wanted to figure out a way to educate and create more resources for people, more information, right? Not just the interviews. Like, how can we take it a step further with like actually diving deep into different topics? And to me, it was a no-brainer having them on. And yeah, it's been phenomenal.
I love that. And because you have so much, from the background stories to just the Wealth Wednesdays, my question to you is, what's your favorite episode? If you had to say one episode that's like, oh yeah, that's the Wealth podcast. That's that Latin Wealth podcast, bro. That's the representation you want to see.
I'm gonna give a shout out to somebody and DFW. You know what I'm saying? Someone that's killing it in the DFW area, KG Cosign.
Yes, I love KG.
So
Yeah.
gotta shout out to KG, everybody in the Dallas area that's listening to this. Cosign, they've been doing some phenomenal things over there. We had a conversation in person at a studio, recorded, and it was just dope. Learning about his background, his Panamanian background, and some of the things that he's overcame to create Cosign and to bring it to where it's at today. Like that's somebody that definitely look up to in the media space, and definitely like, yo, I'm always taking notes. So that conversation was dope. I think, man, the episode is like my kids. Like I can't have a favorite, can I? Like I don't know.
Well, you already picked one, so at least
Oh, there we go.
I think it's towards the beginning, so they can just watch from there, and all the other ones up until the most recent one. So that's a good start.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine. Shout out to KG, like you said, he is another Afro Latina in the community doing his thing, but it is about you. And so, speaking of your great successes, very recently you're part of something that would say kind of monumental, I think, for the Latin community. You were on a financial podcast for Futuro Conference. It was held by the Latin Film Festival and Off the Cuff in Manhattan, New York. What was that like?
First of all, shout out to you for doing your research and just like keeping your eyes open and whatnot. Like,
I told you, I've been watching. You've been popping off.
I see you. No, that was, first off, shout out to everybody in New York. Every time I go out there, it's love. You know what I'm saying? When you go out there, it's really a melting pot of individuals, of Latinos. So you see everybody out there from Dominican, Cuban. You'll see that in Dallas as well, but you know how it is in New York. It's really a huge melting pot out there. They wanted me to be a part of a panel, breaking into wealth, talking about wealth and really our relationship with money, which is big. So I had some other phenomenal guests on stage with me. Some of them own like a huge liquor company, coffee company, and whatnot. So some of them were creatives, and man, it was amazing. It was just amazing to be in a room. You know, it really inspired me to want to do something like that and bring something like that out here to the city of Dallas.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I mean, Manhattan in itself is big, but I guess you had cousins stuff out there out front rooting for you since that's where your family's from.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Oh, my fault.
No, you're good. You're good. Hey, that's
I put the do not disturb on. Okay, cool.
And it didn't listen. There we go. I was saying, no, you're good. You're good. I was like, I know. I just slid in where I could fit in. That's why I said, make sure y'all come prepared if you're coming through, Chris. Okay.
Yeah.
One of the questions though that you said on the podcast that you had to answer was like, what does wealth mean to you? So I do want to know, Mr. Latin Wealth Podcast himself, what does wealth mean to you?
So what wealth means to me is, man, it's a variety of things that come to my head, but different words come to my head are like freedom, health, family. These type of words come to my mind when I think of wealth. And when I think of wealth, I don't just want people to think about like, yo, how much money am I making, right? Am I millionaire, multimillionaire? It's more than that. It's like how you're taking care of yourself. How are you taking care of yourself mentally, physically? Are you spending that quality time with your family and whatnot? And also, like, are you operating in your purpose and in your gift? I think you can create wealth from doing that. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a lot of people that, I've seen people that make a lot of money, but they're in an extremely stressful situation. Like they're always stressed out, right?
Right.
But it's like, yo, we focus on maybe taking a step back and doing something that we love and that we enjoy. We can create wealth that way as well. So that's how I look at it. To me, it's like a well-being. It's more rounded. And it's also freedom, right? It's having the freedom to do the things that I want and I love as well.
I love that. And okay, and then I don't know, you ain't gotta share your secrets if you don't want to, but I think I crossed your path about a year and a half ago at this point, and I have been watching your journey and you've been taking off, I feel like a rocket. I gotta know, is there like one financial tip that you put into place about a year and a half ago into now that's made this huge transition for you?
100%. The biggest financial tip, you said that in financial tip or investing tip?
Because hey, for me, I'm ignorant. You got to let me know what
I'm gonna say this. The biggest investment that I made over the last year wasn't Bitcoin. It wasn't Apple stock. It wasn't Microsoft. It wasn't, you know what I'm saying, like a business. It was the investment in myself. Investing in myself, and that might sound cliche. You guys may hear that all the time, but I'm telling you, it's the best investment that you can make, right? Again, whether it's in your health, whether it's in your education, or or your business, like whatever the case is, investing in yourself to help you get to that next level. I have a mindset of like, yo, I'm trying to get 1% better every single day. So what area of my life can I get 1% better? What area in my life can I invest in and get better in? It can be in my marriage. It can be, any of those things, right? It can be with my faith. And I think over the course of getting 1% better every single day, you look at the end of the year, you're 365% better than you were last year. So, man, I think that the best investment you can make is in yourself. And I think people, maybe they overthink what that looks like. They can just be picking up a book and reading that book, or listening to a podcast, or, you know, surrounding yourself with more like-minded people, right? Those are all investments that you can make into yourself. Man, it can be starting to go to the gym, right? So
yeah,
invest in yourself, I think, is like the biggest thing that I would recommend to people.
And that's on period. Okay, yeah. I love that. That's beautiful. And speaking of investments of your personal self, you know, I was privileged to also meet your beautiful wife when I met you. And on a personal note, you know, y'all be taking trips over to like Japan and some fancy stuff. So it's, talk about inspiration. It's always beautiful to be able to see. And also just real stuff, because you have a beautiful, your wife is beautiful brown. Okay. So to see a beautiful brown woman and a Latino man over in Japan, low-key stunting.
Crazy.
Always amazing to see. So thank y'all for that, because that's always, you know, y'all are a beautiful power couple. Y'all support each other. So just on a personal note and on a business note, if people want to follow along on your journey with you, I need you to let them know what your personal Instagram is, as well as how to stay a part of the Latin Wealth podcast journey.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna say this. Like, it's not even, I know this show is about me, or you're interviewing me, but it's really about the platform and the people. So, like, if you want to stay tapped in, like, just check out Latin Wealth on all platforms, right? And Instagram, go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast, check it out, because we really do that for y'all. When you look at the cover art of the podcast, my face isn't on it. My co-host face isn't on it. It's just a variety of Latinos on there, right? And that's what it's about. It's about community. So it's really for y'all. If you want to follow me at Chris Belloso on Instagram, you know, if you follow me, please feel free to like reach out and ask me questions, connect, let's collaborate, let's grow, let's build, whatever we got to do, let's do that, right? I'm real proactive, right? I'm like, let's go, let's make it happen, right? You hit me up a couple days ago.
You came into it. That's why I was like, shout out to you, because I was like, it's kind of last minute. That's why I'm just grateful you're here.
Sure, yeah. So no, you can, again, at Latin Wealth, if you want to reach out to me personally, at Chris Belloso on Instagram.
Thank you so much, Chris. Again, you are an amazing person. You are a godsend, because our people definitely do need some financial literacy. We need some help. We need a person that can look like us and tell us in a way that we can understand. And that's exactly what you do at the Latin Wealth podcast.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy, it's a Friday. I think it's time for me to get a margarita. I appreciate your time. Make sure to follow along with Chris, and make sure to follow on for our next episode of In El Barrio with Kirbyyyona on 97.9 The Beats.
Peace.